So we got Kat and Mal on the FaceTime. Oh, wow, Bailey. Me.
Alright, so the NSA has been invading our privacy and bypassing our constitutional rights. These are the sources I have. I went to ABC News, Washington Post. I did a couple law reviews, both from lawreview.com and Carrie Sims. I went through NBC News. There's actually a case write-up from Mayfield versus the United States. That's from Google Scholar. The Wall Street Journal, Berkeley Law, FindLaw, Debate.com, and Epic, which is a privacy site. So the NSA has been unconstitutionally invading our privacy and collecting metadata, and the work they have gathered, they have actually that actually thwarted terrorist attacks was done in an ineffective way. And the solution to this problem is that either disband the NSA or rewrite the Patriot Act, which is what makes the NSA legal. And with everyone carrying around cell phones and basically small computers in their pockets, it's become really easy for them to track everyone and collect all their data. And the fact that a lot of our communications has gone from face-to-face interactions or over the phone to text message and email made it easier for them to get all this information from us. So break down the problem. The NSA works by collecting metadata, which is basically the data about the data, and it stores it on this huge 100 terabyte drive, and with that it scans through everyone, and there's an algorithm with the PRISM, which is the algorithm they use, and it picks up on any suspected terrorist acts and it flags it, which will allow them to further look into those people, but they still have to collect data on everyone. So Edward Snowden, about a couple years ago, he was a contractor for the NSA, and he was able to break through all their security walls and was able to leak a lot of their data. And this leak showed us that the NSA has a serious problem abusing their power collection. And the FISC, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, saw that the data collected contained the who, when, where, and how long the conversation was on a phone call, as well as the to line, the from line, the subject line, and the first 4 lines of information from emails, and we got that from Berkeley Law. The leak also provided an audit dated 2012, which accounted for 2,776 incidents of unauthorized collection, storage, and access to or distribution of legally protected communications. And those incidents were collected from only 2 out of the 14 facilities that the NSA has in the United States, so there's probably a lot more than just that audit provides. And also, ABC News reports 12 revealed cases of abuse by the NSA employees for unsanctioned missions. There was actually a case where an employee, his girlfriend had just cheated on him or something, and he actually used all of his ability to spy on her and collect all of her data, and went through phone calls and emails to track down the guy that she cheated with, which is obviously not allowed. There's actually not really a good way to regulate their abuse of power. The chief of the FISC, which is the thing that's supposed to run the NSA, said that he doesn't actually have the capability to investigate the compliance record of the NSA surveillance programs. He also said the FISC does not have the capacity to investigate issues of noncompliance, and in that respect, the FISC is in the same position as any other court when it comes to enforcing government compliance with its order. And also, the government doesn't have a way to ask for a specific target that they have in mind if they know that someone is a terrorist or has terrorist ties. They can't just zone in on that one person. They have to have a broad scheme of surveillance, which means that more people will be looked under the microscope of the NSA. And not only can we not regulate their abuse of power, but it also infringes on our Fourth Amendment. So the Fourth Amendment basically says that it's the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath and affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So basically the NSA just kind of gathers information without actually getting an official warrant. And technically the Patriot Act does waive them from following the Constitution, but the fact that a government entity can have so much power to bypass a basic right is absurd. And also the Senate Judiciary Committee, they were looking back through the Patriot Act, and they came to the conclusion that the inherently intrusive nature of electronic surveillance, moreover, has enabled the government to generate vast amounts of information unrelated to any legitimate government interest about the personal and political lives of American citizens. They go on to say, electronic surveillance, which by any objective measure were improper and seriously infringed by the Fourth Amendment right of both the targets and those with whom the targets communicated. So even the Senate Judiciary Committee states that the electronic data that the NSA gets, it goes by so many laws, and it's unconstitutional for them to even do anything like that, and yet we still have them allowing to do it. And the Supreme Court actually acknowledges that the electronic surveillance, even in the absence of intrusion, constitutes a search within the Fourth Amendment, meaning that any type of surveillance that the NSA does should be provided with a warrant or some type of government effect instead of just getting all of our data from all of our technology. And the FIC law states a prior judicial warrant is needed for all electronic surveillance, but there's actually a clause in the Patriot Act which allows the NSA to not need a warrant to go through our electronic and personal belongings as long as they don't personally confront us. So as long as they're staying within the realm of just doing it through their computer, it's allowed for them to do that. So the Patriot Act is basically the act that makes the NSA legal. And NBC reports two provisions of the USA Patriot Act are unconstitutional because it allows search warrants to be issued without showing a probable cause. So in the instances where someone does require a search warrant, they just give up a search warrant without saying why they need a search warrant. And there's actually a case that was brought up in front of a court that is from Mayfield versus United States, and the actual write-up says, the court specifically rejected the state's argument that the Fourth Amendment requirements should be relaxed because the surveillance statute was essential in its fight against organized crime. The court held, we cannot forgive the requirements of the Fourth Amendment in the name of the law enforcement. This is no formality we require today, but a fundamental rule that has long been recognized as a basic to the privacy of every home in America. While the requirements of the Fourth Amendment are not inflexible or obtrusively annealing the legitimate needs of law enforcement, it is not to be asked too much that officers be required to comply with the basic command, home or office, command of the Fourth Amendment before the innermost secrets of one's home or office are invaded. Few threats to liberty exist which are greater than that posed by the use of eavesdropping devices. So a court in, I believe, Oregon was found that the NSA, what they were doing was illegal, and that the privacy of one's own being shouldn't be just displayed for everyone. Not only does the Patriot Act not only is the Patriot Act unconstitutional, but the entire entity of the NSA is ineffective. A reporter, Carl Bialik from the Wall Street Journal, says any automated approach for spotting something rare necessarily proves false positives. And he even goes on to say that an algorithm identifying terrorist communications could produce about 10,000 false positives for every one real hit. So basically the NSA is is looking into 10,000 extra people that they don't need to be looking into. And even the NSA chief admits that only 1 or 2 terrorist plots have been foiled with the NSA's intelligence, and that the FBI and CIA are actually more successful with their intel than the NSA has ever been. And so the solutions to the problem is to disband the NSA. There's actually a poll going around, and 78% of those who voted would like to see the NSA completely disbanded. They believe that their right to privacy outweighs their ineffectiveness, even though they do occasionally get 1 or 2 real hits. Their ineffectiveness doesn't do anything for a right to privacy. Or we can revise the Patriot Act, which the Patriot Act was rushed through after the 9/11 aftermath because the government and everyone else was so scared and traumatized by everything. They never wanted to happen again. But the Patriot Act has so many different clauses that go against the Constitution, which isn't allowed. And some of the clauses have a thing where they are supposed to expire by a certain year, but the NSA still goes by those certain laws, even though they've expired. And also, the Electronic Privacy Information Center states that if the FISC were to rewrite the PRISM program, more people would be okay with the NSA because they would have more strict rules with data collection. As long as their data wasn't kept forever and held onto like it currently is, they'd be more okay with their stuff being searched. While the government is never going to be a perfect entity, they can fix the bigger problems like the NSA, especially those that infringe on our basic rights, especially the right to privacy. I hope you're able to see the deficiencies with NSA as well as see that the government has solutions. As a young citizen, I have no right to be concerned about my past. I haven't done anything illegal to the government or like to wrong the government, but still I'd like to have a peace of mind to know that the government isn't going through all my stuff all the time.